Before multiverses were cool and before the MCU sucked the concept completely dry, there was a teenager named Donnie Darko who broke time, space, and our little brains in 1980 suburban Virginia, the same state that I crawled into existence, which kind of explains a lot actually, but I don't live there anymore. But here's the question, was all of this fate, psychosis, or just some glitch in the universe? I mean, really, if a giant rabbit woke you up in the middle of the night to tell you that the world was ending, would you believe it? Donnie Darko is an American sci-fi psychological thriller film written and directed by Richard Kelly. With the limited theatrical release on October 26, 2001, the film had a tiny budget of $4.5 million and only grossed $7.5 million worldwide. A crime to humanity. Drew Barrymore and Richard Kelly did some talking on the set of Charlie's Angels, and they had agreed that her production company, Flower Films, would produce this film for $4.5 million, and that Barrymore would play Miss Pomeroy. Richard Kelly said in an interview that if Drew did not step in and give him this budget, then Donnie Darko would have unfortunately went straight to video or cable television via Stars. I am not a big science fiction guy, but there is just something so genius and so special about this movie. And if I'm being completely honest, the box office situation, that kind of makes sense to me. This film is hard and was hard to market. You know, this movie is not, it's not a straight horror film. It's not a flat drama, nor is it a science fiction in its traditional futuristic form. It's many things, so dare I say, Donnie Darko was ahead of its time. People didn't get it. You didn't get it, okay? This movie is a film, and I don't mean film as in like movie. Like this is a film. This is a film. There are layers to this movie, okay? The best kind of movies are the ones where you can have different and numerous interpretations, right? Like every time you put the joint on, you get something new, or you just you notice something different every single time. Unfortunately, the events of 9/11 happening a short week and a half after this film's release played into its ticket sales. The original advertising material featured a crashing plane, and I mean, of course, all this was pulled and tanked the box office due to lack of advertising. Our cast consists of a 19-year-old Jake Gyllenhaal, whom we all know. I mean, the catalog is, well, fabulous. Brokeback Mountain, Love and Other Drugs with Anne Hathaway, Prisoners, Zodiac, an indie film called Enemy that I love, and possibly his best acted film, Nightcrawler. There were a few guys up for consideration before Jake got the part, like Vince Vaughn, who felt that he was too old, and then there was Mark Wahlberg, who apparently was only willing to play Donnie if he could do it with a lisp.
Okay, whatever that means.
And Jason Schwartzman also was strongly considered for Donnie, but he had scheduling conflicts. Jenna Malone co-stars from Catching Fire, The Neon Demon, Sucker Punch, and Saved. Oh my gosh, I always forget about that movie. Do y'all remember Saved? That is a movie nobody talks about. We got Drew Barrymore, obviously Queen, Patrick Swayze, legend, Mary McDonnell, who played Jill's mother in Scream 4. What's up, girl? James Duvall from Greg Araki's Nowhere trilogy, and Maggie Gyllenhaal from The Dark Knight. If you've no idea what Donnie Darko is about, allow me to give you a brief summary. We follow a supposedly mentally ill teen named Donnie, living in 1980 suburbia, who narrowly escapes death when a jet engine crashes into his bedroom. And after that, things get weird. And bro starts seeing visions of a creepy giant rabbit named Frank, who tells him the world's gonna end in 28 days. The movie doesn't fit into one box, like I said. It's a psychological thriller, it's sci-fi, it's coming of age, it's mystery, it's supernatural, and it's existential. And I'm gonna warn you, okay? You are not going to get it the first time around, and that's okay. Richard Kelly purposely and meticulously designed the movie to have an open ending. If that's not your style, if you want a movie to hold your hand, this ain't the movie for you. This ain't the movie for you. I highly urge you to watch this movie and then come back. Yep, come back. I want you to join us, please. Gather those thoughts and opinions and then come back. It's free on every platform. I'll put them up here on the screen. No excuses, okay? No excuses. I will be going through the director's cut version of this movie because, I mean, duh, like look at who you talking to. Not me saying that like, you know who I am. The director's cut is 2 hours and 13 minutes, and the theatrical release is 1 hour and 53 minutes. Whichever one you want to visit is up to you. If you've already seen this movie and you need a little refresher, that is really the reason why I do these grand plot breakdowns before getting into theories and my own thoughts, because I want you to catch everything, or catch the important stuff. Let's enter the dark, trippy, alternate reality world of Donnie Darko. We begin our dark journey with our protagonist, who wakes up at dawn in the mountains, lying in the middle of the road with his bike just a few feet away from him. And when he stands up, homie's got the giggles. Donnie rides back into town going home, and we get little glimpses of his family. His dad Eddie is outside blowing leaves, his sister Elizabeth is about to hit the road, his little sister Samantha is on the trampoline, and his mother Rose is reading Stephen King's It with a glass of wine. What time is it? Like 8 o'clock in the morning? On a whiteboard attached to the fridge, there are 3 words. Where is Donnie? At dinner, Elizabeth announces she's voting for Michael Dukakis, which tells us this film takes place in 1988. And Eddie's response is, okay, well, maybe when you have children who need braces and half of your husband's paycheck goes to the government, you'll regret that. Not half of your husband's paycheck. What do you mean by that? Sexism. Elizabeth says she won't squeeze one out till she's like 30, and Donnie's trolling ass asks if she'll still be at the yarn barn because he hears that's a great place to raise children. Little Samantha jumps in asking when she can squeeze one out.
Not until 8th grade.
I would smack him in his mouth. Lizzie calls Donnie a dick, and he's like, whoa, Elizabeth, a little hostile there. Maybe you should be the one in therapy. Then mom and dad can pay someone $200 an hour to listen to your thoughts so we don't have to. So then Lizzie is like, oh, okay, we playing, huh? So tell us why you stopped taking your medication. Ooh. I mean, damn, you know, me and my sister argue, but we ain't go this low. Like, y'all just letting it all out on the table. Hold on.
You're such a ass.
You can go suck a
Oh, please tell me, Elizabeth, how exactly does one suck a
Rose goes into Donnie's room and he immediately says, I'm reading, get out of my room. And just like that, I would have removed the bolts and took away that door. Yup. Rose asks her son, where do you go at night? Did you toilet paper the Johnson's house? But Donnie stopped doing that in the 6th grade. Like, come on, mom. What happened to my son? I don't recognize this person.
Then why don't you start taking the goddamn pills?
This weak-ass mother just turns around and walks out the room.
Bitch.
Weak.
Wait.
There's a brief pause and an expression on Donnie's face that looks like he might have regretted being a bit harsh on Mama. Rose tells Donnie his son just called her a bitch, and this man says, "You're not a bitch. I mean, you're bitching, but you're not a bitch." Donnie goes in his bathroom cabinet and takes a dry pill. Good boy. Yeah, you need to calm the hell down. And in the middle of the night, while everyone is asleep, Eddie gets up to watch a political debate. It's now past 12, officially October 2nd.
Wake up.
What was that?
What was that?
Donnie heads downstairs just as the voice says, "I've been watching you." Eddie is passed out, there's static on the telly. Donnie grabs a black marker on the fridge as he makes his way to the front door, which looks like 2 eyes and a mouth. Come closer, the voice says. Donnie walks all the way into frame. And you can't tell from the way that it's shot right here, but it just proves it in the next scene. He walked all the way to a golf course. And why he looked like me when I took a 100 milligram edible. On another planet, we blend into a bunny who's standing about 300 feet away.
28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, 12 seconds.
Fun fact, the filming of this movie took place over the course of 28 days, much like the course of the film. That is when the world will end, the bunny says. A smirk creeps on Donnie's face as he asks, why? Cut to the house, Dad's still asleep, except Elizabeth, who comes to the front door after a late night. What you doing out this late, Elizabeth? She's got a smile on her face until suddenly there's a crash that shakes the entire crib. Donnie wakes up the next morning with the date of the end of the world on his arm, and a man named Jim Cunningham and Dr. Fisher wake him up. When Donnie gets home, the neighborhood is trying to figure out what the hell is going on. There's news vans outside, the pigs is out, and what? A f***ing jet engine crashed into this teenage boy's room. A flock of men in suits that work with the FAA greet the family, and the leader is Mr. Howard from iCarly. So this is what you did before going to Ridgeway, huh? What did they do to give you such a bad attitude? Who fired you? He asks to speak to the parents in private and has them sign a bunch of papers, NDAs, and they've arranged for the family to stay at a hotel. Elizabeth is laughing about this entire situation with nobody knowing where the jet engine came from, and that's funny to you. It's funny that your brother almost died. Wow. Anyone else find it weird that in the middle of the jet is this like red and white swirl? What's that about? Anyway, the youngest child, little Samantha, is asking the real questions around here.
It fell from a plane. Then what happened to the plane? Is there any way we can make money from this? Can we get on television if we sue the airline?
Period. Donnie and Sam are dropped off at the bus stop, and Sam's friend is like, "Oh my God, girl, tell me everything." But they signed an NDA, so zip it. Sam says hi to an Asian girl named Sharita, who responds with, "Shut up." This does not age well, and I never laughed at it. I don't know. I kind of, I didn't really understand why she was really put in this movie, but we'll get there basically. We'll talk about it. Donnie's homies Sean and Ronald are hyping him up because their best friend is he's a celebrity now. Word. Let me point out that Ronald's father is Dr. Fisher, who was one of the guys standing over Donnie when he woke up on the golf course, and that's how he found out that he woke up there. He asks Donnie if he's been sleepwalking again, but who cares? Sean gives him a smoke before the Twinkie comes, and Donnie turns to Sam saying, "What happens if you tell Mom and Dad, Sam? You'll put Ariel in the garbage disposal." Damn right I will. Through the film, Sean and Ronald tease Sharita, saying the most ridiculous racist things like, "Go back to China, bitch." You know the deal. Like, f these guys, for real. And all Donnie's punk ass says is like, leave her alone, guys. Tears for Fears is Head Over Heels plays when Donnie drops from the back of the school bus. wanted to be with you alone. I don't know the lyrics, but I'm head over heels. Donnie locks eyes with a guy named Seth, who is his rival. We pass teacher Kitty Farmer, Gretchen, who's checking out herself in the mirror. Then there's Seth's homie Ricky, who gives him a bump of Coca-Cola. Ooh, not the what would Satan do sticker. Head Over Heels is still playing as we see inaudible dialogue of Kitty and the principal directing Jim Cunningham inside. There's Professor Monitoff and Miss Pomeroy. Miss Pomeroy is side-eyeing Samantha and her group of dancers like, what the f are y'all doing? And speaking of Miss Pomeranian, later in her class, she reads a passage from Graham Greene's The Destructors. Pomeroy asks the class why the children broke into Old Misery's house, and a girl named Joni raises her hand answering that the kids wanted to rob him. Well, Joni, if you had actually read the short story, which was a whopping 13 pages and would have kept you up all night, you would know that the children find a great deal of money in the mattress, but they burn it. Tag yourself, I'm the girl on Joni's left laughing. Pomeroy calls on Donnie saying, perhaps with your recent brush with mass destruction, you can give the class your opinion. And this is how you get cussed out. Again, bro almost died. He almost died. While Donnie is giving his profound intellectual answer, Gretchen comes in, explaining she was put in the wrong class. She asks Miss Pomeroy where should she sit, and guess what this woman tells her?
Sit next to the boy you think is the cutest.
Quiet!
Oh my god.
Let her choose.
Childish. We know who she sits next to though. She likes the dark, mentally ill boys. Miss Pomeroy follows her eyesight and she tells Joni to get up, and Gretchen takes her spot. This woman really hates Joni, huh? In the car after school, Pop tells Donnie it's gonna take a week for the construction guys to fix the roof. Now, why does Donnie have his foot up like that? If y'all got in a crash, bro, you would get folded up like a pretzel. But I guess he doesn't fear death, especially when he dodged it, right? Nobody still knows where the hell the jet engine came from. All they know is something about a matching serial number that got burned. Also, Pop had to, sign the form saying he wouldn't tell anybody.
So we're not supposed to tell anyone what nobody knows.
Right. Donnie is allowed, however, to tell his therapist, Dr. Thurman. Eddie almost runs over an elder lady in the street named Roberta Sparrow, who has a gag of repeatedly checking her mailbox. No mail today, maybe tomorrow, Donnie says, before Roberta whispers in his ear. In therapy, Donnie tells Dr. Thurman that he made a new friend.
Real or imaginary?
Imaginary.
Well, she was right to ask. He tells Doc what Frank said about the world ending, and after she asks if he believes it, he giggles, saying, no, that's stupid. Kitty is playing Jim Cunningham's video in class where a woman is talking about being a victim of her own fear. Feeding fear with food, if you will, until finally she looked in the mirror. Not just in the mirror, right? But she looked through the mirror. This is a bunch of bullshit. And yes, the little kid in the video is Mark from Zoe 101. Donnie's asleep on the couch seeing visuals of Frank's mask. And for a second, he's in this strange dream world with this liminal building infrastructure with nothing but water around it. And when he wakes, Frank is standing by the window. Whoa! This is probably my favorite shot in the movie. Maybe. Donnie is high as a kite, walking down a long hallway with an axe over his shoulder, and Freaky Frank is in the background. Such an eerie and phenomenal shot. It looks like little Donnie is in a boiler room, but there's no Frederick Krueger around. He swings his axe and bursts open a pipe. October 6, 24 days remaining. Everyone is at the bus stop waiting, but the yellow Twinkie still hasn't showed up. Donnie tells Sharita she should go home since it probably won't show up, and Donnie's obnoxious friends. Oh my god. Sean says if she's here when the bus comes, then they're gonna get in trouble. Shut up, Sharita says.
Yeah, Dad.
said.
Hey, Porky Pig, I hope you get molested.
Did we have to go that far? Like, I get it, you know, the reason her character is in here to be essentially the punching bag. I mean, you know, I get it. He said, I'm gonna just tell you now, he said it in an interview, in this 2017 interview, that he felt it was necessary to have an outcast type character, be that minority, whatever, to really kind of show how school was in the 80s. I mean, it still is today, but, and I mean, she's not only solely there to be a punching bag. I shouldn't have said that, but we'll get there because I don't want to get into spoiler territory until we get there, okay? Two girls run up to the kids revealing school's closed because it's flooded. Principal Cole looks at the damage with the janitor, and they also witness the axe that Donnie was carrying buried into the mascot bull statue, with the final touch being "they made me do it" spray painted below. Gretchen, Seth, and Ricky are waiting for the bus, and the boys swarm around Gretchen.
Has anyone ever told you that you're sexy?
I like your boobs.
Oh, hell no! I'm show y'all bitches something sexy. I will take this shit out. I swear.
I cannot stand boys. You know what? All the men watching this right now, apologize to women. Donnie tells him that school's closed, and Gretchen asks Donnie if he wants to walk her home. He says sure. Meanwhile, Seth unsuccessfully bucks at Donnie. You failed, bud. Gretchen moved into town because her parents got divorced and her mother has a restraining order against her stepdad, who has emotional problems.
Oh, I have those too. What kind of emotional problems does your dad have?
He stabbed my mom 4 times in the chest.
Oh. They can't find her stepdad because he fled, so Gretchen and her mother changed their names. She figured Gretchen Ross was a cool name. Donnie reveals he went to jail once after burning down an abandoned house, causing him to get held back in school and revoking his right to drive until he's 21. A goddamn arsonist. Homie's like, but that was back in my thug days, you know, so I just, you know, I'm chill now, you know, I wanna paint. I wanna be a painter. I wanna be a writer. Then people will understand me, you know? Right. Gretchen says what everybody watching this film is thinking. What the hell kind of name is Donnie Darko? What are you, some superhero? And Donnie says, what makes you think I'm not? He also tells Gretchen that he's glad the school flooded, otherwise they never would have had this conversation.
Well, look, you want to go with me?
Where do you want to go?
Yup. I like that, Gretchen. That was funny. I like that. I'm gonna start using that. She said, where do you want to go? Donnie's like, no, I mean go with me, as in go out. And all Gretchen says is sure before walking away. Where you going, shawty?
I'm going home.
In therapy, Dr. Thurman tries something new with Donnie, hypnosis. If you've ever been hypnotized in this manner, or like the classic version of, you know, putting people on stage and then they do it in front of a live audience, please comment, because I'm not entirely sure that I believe in it, but oh, hold on. But then again, I believe in magic. So, well, whenever she decides to clap twice, Donnie will wake from his trance. Dr. Thurman starts asking him about his week, and he reveals Gretchen, the girl he's going with. She asks Donnie if he thinks about girls a lot. He does. Then she asks how things are going at school. Bro repeats himself saying, I think about girls a lot. And Thurman's like, no, babe. I asked about school.
I think about a lot during school.
And you know what else Donnie thinks about during school? Married with children. He says he just turns the volume down and thinks about boning Christina Applegate. While he's saying all this, dude is unbuckling his belt. Oh, that's... Dr. Thurman asks to hear about Frank, and after turning to see Donnie zipper down, she claps. Supposedly in an earlier draft, she doesn't clap. In Pomeroy's class, students are being called up to the board one by one to write the phrase, "They made me do it," with some cops taking notes. Donnie, you better write in a completely different stroke. But womp womp, Principal Cole draws a question mark next to his name. There's a PTA meeting going on and Principal Cole literally just started talking right when Kitty stands up because she thinks she's the main character. She wants to know why this filth is being taught at their school. And this is intercut with Frank speaking inside Donnie's head after taking another pill. "Don't worry, we got away with it," Frank says. Kitty starts monologuing about the Destructor's book, which is part of her daughter's English assignment, and tells the crowd of parents that in the story, several children destroy an elderly man's house from inside out. Donnie is tripping the out as Frank stands right in front of him and he's got his little paw up to a force field. Donnie asks him why does he have a force field up, and Frank's response is, "I can do anything I want, and so can you." He then asks Frank why he made him flood the school, and all Frankie says is, "They are in great danger." And after asking his third question, "Where are you from?" Franklin asks Donnie if he believes in time travel. Answer my question. Like, why? Donnie's trance is broken when Sam pops up by the door like, who the hell you talking to? It's poetry day in Pomeroy's class, and shall I read Donnie's poem? Well, yes, I think I should. "A storm is coming," Frank says. "A storm that will swallow the children, and I will deliver them from the kingdom of pain. I'll deliver the children back to their doorsteps and send the monsters back to the underground. I'll send them back to a place where no one else can see them except for me, because I am Donnie Darko."
Wow, that was so powerful. Academy Award.
When he sits down, Pomeroy asks, "Who is Frank?"
A 6-foot-tall bunny rabbit.
That's not what Amy Winehouse said. Kitty is playing Jim's tape yet again where the same mother and her son are talking about breathing. Blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Look at this shit right here.
It is time to breathe.
Did you catch it? Kitty brings out a chalkboard with a lifeline that's got fear and love on both opposite ends. She hands out cards with character dilemmas applying to the lifeline, and everybody is to read them aloud and place an X accordingly. When it gets to Donnie, he's like, "Bro, this is the dumbest shit ever. This is silly.
This is just silly.
You can't just lump things into two categories. Things are not that simple. There are other things to take into account, like the whole spectrum of human emotion. Well, if you do not finish the assignment, you will get a 0 for the day." And right before he answers, we cut to Donnie in the principal's office with his parents. "Donnie, what did you say, you potty mouth?"
He asked me to forcibly insert the lifeline exercise card into my anus.
Donnie's suspended from after-school activities for 6 months, and because Kitty is so entitled, she cuts Rose off mid-apology like, "Look, I'll say this because our daughters have been on the dance team together for 2 years, and I respect you as a woman.
Girl.
But after witnessing your son's behavior, I have significant doubts about your... Look, okay. Our paths through life must be righteous. I urge you to go home and look in the mirror and pray that your son doesn't succumb to the path of fear." October 10th, 20 days remain. After class, Donnie asks his physics teacher, Dr. Monitoff, if he knows anything about time travel. Monitoff quotes Stephen Hawking in that a wormhole may be able to provide a shortcut for jumping between two distant regions of space-time. Monitoff then pulls a book out of his bag written by a woman who used to teach at the school, and many years before that she was a nun. Overnight she became an entirely different person, just up and left the church and wrote this book. And what do you know? The book is titled The Philosophy of Time Travel by Roberta Sparrow, aka the woman who keeps checking her mailbox. Donnie even sees a picture of her deep in the halls of his school. So we're about to see these title cards and we go through every single chapter. And I mean, obviously Richard could not put it in the theatrical cut because it's been a little bit too much, you know. I mean, he's not Nolan or Scorsese, but he added this extra lore and this extra layer in the director's cut. I think it's great. It gives the viewers a little bit more of a puzzle to stick together. Chapter 1: The Tangent Universe. If a tangent universe occurs, it will be highly unstable, sustaining life for no longer than several weeks, and eventually it will collapse upon itself, forming a black hole within the primary universe, capable of destroying all existence. Donnie tells his therapist his theory about Frank wanting him to talk to Roberta, since Frank was initially the one to bring up time travel, so this can't be a coincidence, right? He tells Dr. Thurman what Roberta whispered in his ear the other day, and this is where we officially learn what she said.
She said that every living creature on Earth dies alone.
Thurman asks Donnie how it made him feel, and he brings up his dog Callie, who crawled underneath the porch to die and be alone when he was 8 years old. Poor baby start crying when he admits, I don't want to be alone. Real. Rose is having a glass of red with a girlfriend who's talking about Jim Cunningham's tape, and she's saying that for the last 39 years, Rose, I've been a prisoner of my own fear. Girl, I do not want to hear about this. I don't. I'm trying to get my drink on and you up in here playing therapy hour.
Rose, you have got to meet this Jim Cunningham. I can't believe he's single.
While Donnie's in the living room with his father alongside Ronald and Mr. Fisher, this clear bubble starts coming out his father's stomach, following him into the kitchen. Samantha's running around the house with her own bubble, and then, oh, guess what? Donnie gets a bubble as well. You get a bubble and you get a bubble. Maybe we're all bubbles. On another planet, Donnie's bubble takes him all the way up the stairs to his parents' room, where there is a box on the floor with a... Ooh. October 18th, 12 days remain. A plane flies above Donnie and friends at the bus stop. Flashbacks. Chapter 2: Water and Metal. Water and metal are the key elements of time travel. Water is the barrier element for the construction of time portals, used as gateways between universes at the tangent vortex. During a stroll through the woods, Gretchen is trying to be real and have her Academy Award winning scene, since, you know, talking about going back in time and stripping away the hours of pain. But Donnie cuts her off, alluding to them dating for 2 weeks and having not kissed. So he tries and she dodges. Gretchen wants the kiss to be at the perfect time. You know, when it reminds you how beautiful the world can be. Donnie finishes. Okay, not this gay shit. There's a fat guy staring at us, Gretchen says. Rose and Eddie are having dinner when Rose brings up Donnie's insult to Kitty about shoving a book up her ass, and she tells Ed it shouldn't go without consequence. And Eddie. Eddie.
I think we should buy him a moped.
I think we should get a divorce.
Dr. Thurman finally has a meeting with the Darkos to talk about what's going on with Donnie. And while this is happening, Donnie grabs a knife from the kitchen and takes another pill. Thurman says that Donnie's aggressive behavior and his increased attachment from reality seem to stem from his inability to cope with the forces of the world that he perceives to be threatening. She asks if Donnie has ever brought up Frank to them, and they are like, no. Well, what Donnie is experiencing is commonly called a daylight hallucination. Don puts his knife up to the force field, trying to stab Frank's eye, which looks like it's got a bullet in it. Franklin, what did you do to get a cat busted in your ass? Thurman tells the Darkos that daylight hallucinations are a common occurrence among paranoid schizophrenics, and she wants to do more hypnotherapy and increase his medication. Chapter 7. The Manipulated Living. The role of the manipulated living is to assist the living receiver and return the artifact to the primary universe. The manipulated living will do anything to save themselves from oblivion. Oblivion. Shout out to the Mac Miller boys. Stand up. Donnie's sleepwalking has gotten so out of hand, like he's waking up further and further from his house. There's a very short, and I mean literally 20-second scene of Pomeroy and Monotov in the teacher's lounge looking very sus as they laugh to themselves.
Donnie Darko.
I know.
Are these bitches in on it? Cut to Jim Cunningham, who is having a conference at the school, and we see a little Ashley Tisdale in her first ever role. Jim tells the crowd he's gonna tell them a story about a boy whose life was completely destroyed by the instruments of fear. A young man who searched for love in all the wrong places, and his name was Frank. Donnie is like, I know you fucking lying. Things start speeding up and Donnie tells Gretchen that they're moving through time. Young Sharpay, before the shmoney, gets on the mic saying how she wants her sister to stop being fat and gaining weight. Spencer Shea gets on the mic as well, or should I say Crazy Steve, venting about how he doesn't know what he wants to be when he grows up. Then the kid from Zoe 101 hops on the mic saying he wants to learn how to fight. Are you putting the pieces together? Why do you think he wants to learn how to fight? All three of them join each other on the stage, and finally Donnie gets on the mic to spit. Ugh. And he asks Jim how much he was paid to be here. Period. He said, cut the shit. He started reading all the kids on the stage. If you want your sister to lose weight, tell her to stop eating Twinkies and play field hockey. And for the homie in the middle, look, no one knows what they want to be when they grow up. And it takes a while to find that out. And that's okay. And you, shortstop, sick of some jerk shoving your head down the toilet? Start lifting some weights or take a karate lesson. And next time he tries, kick him in the balls. I don't know, this sounds very informative to me. You know, while Jim is up here talking about letting go of fear, Donnie is Donnie is telling you bitches how to do it. What is you talking about? Ooh, oh. I can't stand somebody who just be talking, who just be rapping, right? That's why I can't listen to motivational speakers, because I'm listening, but I ain't hearing shit though. Jim is trying his best to gaslight Donnie by calling him troubled and confused. And Donnie's like, you know what? You're right. I am very, very confused and troubled.
And I'm afraid, really afraid, but I think you're Antichrist.
I would have stood up clapping. After school, Donnie shows Gretchen Roberta's book. And he's like, baby, I'm seeing stuff. Baby, I'm seeing a lot of messed up stuff in this book, and it just can't be a coincidence. So they walk to Miss Sparrow's house, but there's no answer. They check her mailbox. That's illegal, babe. And notice she's standing on her deck. Chapter 4. The Artifact and the Living. When a tangent universe occurs, those living nearest to the vortex will find themselves at the center of the dangerous new world. Artifacts provide the first sign that an ancient universe has occurred. If an artifact occurs, the living will retrieve it with great interest and curiosity. Artifacts are formed from metal, such as an arrowhead from an ancient Mayan civilization or a metal sword from medieval Europe. We gonna get a little spacey around here, so don't space out. Dr. Monotov says each vessel travels along a vector through space-time along its center of gravity. So Donnie is like, a spear, you mean? Demonstrating a slinky coming out of his chest and referring to the bubble that he was seeing the other night. Monotov continues, in order for the vessel to travel through time, it's got to find a portal, a wormhole. Don asks if wormholes could appear anywhere, anytime.
No, I think what you're talking about is an act of God.
But if God controls time, then time is predestined. I mean, every living thing is only a set path, and if you can see your path, then you can see into the future, a form of time travel. But you're contradicting yourself, Cupcake. Because if we're able to see our destinies manifest themselves visually, then we would be given a choice to portray our destinies. And the mere fact that this choice exists would make all preformed destinies come to an end. Though Donnie argues not if you travel through God's channel.
I'm not going to be able to continue this conversation.
Why?
I could lose my job.
We already weeds deep. It's just me and you in here. Niggas talking some real shit. Full reference if you are confused why Molotov said that to Donnie. It's because they're in a Catholic school and this conversation goes outside of the belief system of the community, right? Pomeroy has now been banished from teaching the kids the Destructor, so it has been replaced with The Watership Down by Richard Adams. When she passes the book out, she leans down to Donnie and says, maybe you and Frank can read this one together. What does she know? And more importantly, what does she know that we don't know she knows? Chapter 6, The Living Receiver. The living receiver is often blessed with fourth dimensional powers. These include increased strength, telekinesis, mind control, and the ability to conjure fire and water. The living receiver is often tormented by terrifying dreams, visions, and auditory hallucinations during his time within the Tangent universe. When Donnie is walking home one evening, he sees Jim's dropped wallet, and the voice of Frank tells him,
now you know where he lives.
Gretchen and Donnie are giving a project presentation in class where they drew an image of a baby with these glasses that they call IMG, Infant Memory Generator, where parents can put still images of different peaceful places or what have you for their baby while they sleep or, do whatever. Seth raises his hand saying, so what if parents put in pics of Satan or dead people? Gretchen's like, oh, is that what you would show your kids?
Well, I mean, didn't your dad, stab your mom?
Donnie chases Gretchen outside and plants a few kisses on her. The couple go out on a date to the movie theater to see the original Evil Dead. That's a classic, babes. Arguably the most notable and famous shot in the film, Frank appears next to a sleeping Gretchen. The Arrow Theater in Santa Monica, California, where this scene was shot at, this theater, they have this annual tradition of playing Donnie Darko every year on Easter. And one day, I'ma watch it in there, and I'ma try to find and figure out which seat is Donnie's.
Why are you wearing that stupid bunny suit?
Why are you wearing that stupid man suit?
Right.
Donnie tells Frank to take his mask off, and we finally get a look at Frank, who has been shot in the right eye. What happened to your eye? Why do they call you Frank? Donnie says, it was the name of my father and his father before me. And Donnie's like, Frank, when is this all gonna stop? But Frank tells him, you should already know that. Watch the movie screen. There's something I want to show you. A hole opens in the middle of the screen, and Frankie asks Donnie,
have you ever seen a portal?
Fire lights in Donnie's eyes, and Frank whispers,
burn it to the ground.
Donnie zips up his hoodie, leaving Gretchen in the theater alone. There's a talent show at the school, and Sharita is giving an interpretive dance, Slay Mama. Meanwhile, Kitty is giving pep talk to Sam and her dance group. She tells a girl named Bethany if she feels like throwing up, then just swallow it, because failure is not an option. Donnie finally makes it to Jim Cunningham's mansion. Sparkle Motion is officially introduced to the stage, and this is very unserious because what are we doing? Donnie is going berserk, spritzing gasoline everywhere, and sets the room on fire, returning back to the movie theater like it was nothing. Chapter 10, The Manipulated Dead. There's a small scene where Donnie has with his father, who tells him to just say you to all those big conspiracy dictators out there who try to put him down because he's smarter than them and he can think outside of the box. It's a cute moment. Elizabeth is watching the news report where it's reported that firefighters discover something rather disturbing in Jim Cunningham's house. Take a guess what they found.
Firefighters discovered what has been referred to as a kiddie dungeon.
October 24th. 6 days remain. Principal officially fires Pomeroy, saying that her methods are not appropriate. And you know, what's fucked up is that when she asks for an excuse, all this joker says is, "I'm sorry that you have failed." What the hell are you even talking about? I mean, we're only shown like 3 teachers in the entire school, but I bet she was the best teacher out of all of them. I feel you, girl. Hold on, I think I got a few joints in my bag. You need one. Hold on. Over the speakers, Principal Carl announces that Sparkle Motion has been invited to perform on Star Search 88 in Los Angeles. And while Kitty is celebrating, a woman comes by showing her and the principal the newspaper with the revelation about Jimmy. Kitty visits the Darko's house and talks with Rose and she says, "I'm sure you've heard the allegations against Jim." Like, girl, allegations? Baby doll, they found it in the house. What are we allegating? Rose is like, oh yeah, oh word, the kitty dungeon. And she's like, oh, please don't use those words. This is obviously a conspiracy to destroy an innocent man. Somebody please smack this out of touch woman. Kitty is spearheading the Jim Cunningham defense campaign and is appearing at his arraignment tomorrow morning. But tomorrow, the girls are scheduled to leave for LA. None of the other mothers are available, so the reason she's here is to ask Rose to take the girls. Rose is like, I don't know, mama. It's too much going on. It's a bad weekend. Eddie is in New York right now, you know. And this old bitch starts raising her voice. Rose, I don't know if you realize what an opportunity this is for our daughters.
Sometimes I doubt your commitment to Sparkle Motion.
Lord save us. Rose finds a drawing Donnie did of Frank over top of his calendar. She sits down to chat with her son, letting him know what's gonna happen while she's gone. Elizabeth is in charge, and she will also drive him to therapy. And if he needs anything, then call Dr. Thurman. Donnie visits Pomeroy, who's boxing up her last few items, and he's bombed and, telling her that she's the best teacher in the school.
Thank you.
On the board, 2 words, cellar door, are written, and after Donnie asks what that means, Pomeroy says, this famous linguist once said that of all the phrases in the English language, of all the endless combination of words in all of history, that cellar door is the most beautiful. I think she's trying to tell us something, guys. When he leaves her class, he sees Sharita in the hallway, grabs her by the face and says, I promise one day everything's gonna be better for you. And she yells, shut up, and runs away, dropping all her books and binders. And Donnie's name is written front and center on one of them. And on his walk home, Donnie wears her earmuffs. That's so cute. Little tiny character moment. Thurman asks Donnie what he got for Christmas, and things quickly turn into him revealing he flooded his school, burned down a pervert's house, and he only has a few days left before they catch him. Donnie says that he's gotta obey Frank or he'll be left all alone, and then he won't be able to figure out what this is all about. He won't know the master plan. Do you mean God's plan? Do you not believe in God? He tells his therapist that he has the power to build a time machine. And when she asks how, he's like, whoop, Frank said time's up. Let me point out how he's holding a stuffed animal and he's talking like a child through all this, but I think it's because he's in his trance. Dr. Thurman asks when this is all gonna happen and he says soon. Who is Frank going to kill? She says.
I can see right now!
Oh!
Lord, I'm having a heart attack! Damn, this is some scary shit!
Shortly after this, Thurman claps and breaks the hypnosis. Then she drops this bombshell, which I forget every single time that I watch this movie.
You can stop taking your medication. They're placebos, pills made out of water.
Oh my god. Her final words to Donnie are that an atheist is someone who denies altogether the existence of God. You're an agnostic, Donnie. An agnostic is someone who believes that there is no proof of the existence of God, but does not deny a possibility that God exists. And on that, Donnie says goodbye and leaves. Elizabeth has been accepted into Harvard, so Donnie suggests they throw a party since their parents are gone. Let's do something small, not too crazy. Well, cut, and this is a very non-small party, let's just say that. For whatever reason, the fat guy, as Gretchen called him in the red tracksuit, is watching the house. This guy's a spy. Dr. Thurman calls the house and leaves a message for Rose during the party, saying it's extremely important and urgent that she call her as soon as she gets this message. Chapter 9. Insurance Trap. The manipulated dead will set an insurance trap. The living receiver must ensure the fate of all mankind. Oh my gosh, Love Will Tear Us Apart by Joy Division is playing in the house. Donnie opens his front door where Gretchen stands crying. She says her mom is gone and Donnie invites her in. They go upstairs, baby's freaking out. She thinks her stepdad has something to do with this, and I guess some people are just born with strange tragedy. And Donnie shuts her up with a kiss. Elizabeth walks up to some friends asking if they've seen Frank. Who? And the girl says no, he went on a beer run. Rose leaves a message on the answering machine while the kids are getting freaky on the bed, and she says that they're gonna take the red eye back tonight and they should arrive at 8:30 in the morning. October 30th, 6 hours remaining. After one final kiss, a liquid bubble comes out of Donnie's chest as he heads by the fridge where the sign now says, Frank was here, went to get beer. And now multiple people at the party have bubbles coming out of them. One takes him into flashes, tripping him out, and Donnie tells Gretchen, we've gotta go. They all go to Roberta Sparrow's house to find nothing until Donnie repeats the words, cellar door, and he finds a cellar door. They have a look around, Gretchen taps a few keys on the piano, and then out of the f***ing cut, two guys with weapons, aka Satanists Seth and Ricky, grab both of them. Ricky throws Gretchen on the ground like a rag doll, and Seth pins Donnie down. Ricky's screaming, and he makes Ronald and Sean leave. F***ing pussies, like it's 2 against 1. All bros, all he got is a knife, but that I expect. I ain't gonna say nothing. They should have died. That's what I'm gonna say. I wanna see some throats cut. And then Sharita comes out the cut and he's like, Sharita, please. And she's like, cha-cha. And then one final hit. Yeah. Amen. Ricky yells at Seth because a car is coming. Gretchen is still on the ground. Y'all, I'm stressed. Oh, I'm stressed. And Seth is all, did you call the cops? When did he have time to call the cops? Okay. I hate stupid. Donnie then says Deus Ex Machina. Roberta is in the middle of the road, causing the speeding car to swerve and run over Gretchen. No! Donnie runs to Gretchen's body when a clown and Bunny Frank get out of the car. Frank is like, what were you guys doing out in the middle of the road? What were you thinking? And Donnie swiftly pulls out a pistol and shoots Frank in the eye. A storm is coming. You must hurry, Roberta tells Donnie. Donnie comes back home carrying Gretchen's body, kisses his sister on the head, takes a set of keys, and before he gets in the car, he looks up at the sky and sees a big wormhole. Gretchen lies in the passenger as Donnie speeds through the neighborhood, driving all the way back up the mountain. I'm going home, Donnie says, sitting on top of the vehicle, watching the wormhole in the sky. On the plane with Rose and Sam, there's a big jump and the jet engine falls from the sky as Donnie gets back in the car and stares at Gretchen's body. Look at him just smiling to him, like he knows what's got to be done, right? We get visuals of the jet engine flying through the wormhole in a replay of the events of the film. Donnie is back in bed laughing to himself. I've been there. And the jet engine crashes into his room. Chapter 12. Dreams. When the manipulated awaken from their journey into the tangent universe, they are often haunted by the experience in their dreams. Many of them will not remember. Those who do remember the journey are often overcome with profound remorse for their regretful actions. Dr. Thurman wakes from her sleep. We see Pomeroy asleep next to Monotov. Saw that coming. Jim is awakened in his sleep crying. Kitty is awake. Sharita is staring at the ceiling. Even Frank is up drawing bunnies. Shook as all hell. When the sun comes out, Donnie's body is taken out on a stretcher. Elizabeth is a mess. Well, everybody is a mess. And Rose is having a cigarette. I do not blame you. I don't. Gretchen comes down the road cycling and she stops talking to a little kid, asking, "What's going on?" "There was a horrible accident," the child says. "My neighbor got killed."
What was his name?
Donnie Darko. Did you know him?
No.
Gretchen raises her hand, gives Rose a wave, and the film fades out. That was a lot, but the rabbit hole goes even deeper. Let's get into it. Everything in this segment is credited to the Donnie Darko website, which is a godsend, pun intended, and I will link it below as well as all of my other sources for this heavy ass video. Like I'm about to throw a lot of shit at y'all, so just open, okay? Just open. Baby, this film is complex. It's complex, darling. So yeah, let's get into what we know and what's in the book, set in stone. There are two universes we mainly deal with. The primary universe, the universe we exist in now, and the tangent universe, the parallel universe that most of the film is set. The philosophy of time travel book says that time is a staple construct, but for whatever reason, the fourth dimension gets corrupted. Think of this as a cosmic hiccup, if you will. And because of this, a tangent universe is created. Now you might ask, why is an alternate universe, or why is a tangent universe so bad? Because it's unstable, Boo Bear. It's only going to last 28 days before it collapses on itself. And guess what? It will cause a black hole capable enough to destroy the primary universe with it. The glitch happens around 12 a.m. on October 2nd, and we're never given a reason why. When the tangent universe is created, an artifact spontaneously appears shortly after. The object will be metal, and in this case, it's the jet engine. We don't know where this object came, the artifact, the jet engine, but all we know is that it was created at the same time when the tangent universe started to form. And remember, I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna just keep reminding y'all the little stuff. The tangent universe is a replica of one of everything that is within the primary universe. Along with the creation of a tangent universe and an artifact, a living receiver is chosen. It's random based on wherever the artifact lands, this being Donnie. And the receiver's mission is to guide the artifact out of the tangent universe. This receiver is blessed with supernatural powers during their time in the tangent universe to help with their quest. Strength, mind control, conjuring fire, moving water, and tele, as in telekinesis. You know, Carrie, the mind, the galaxy brain, right? So, you know, okay, maybe we ain't see no matter, that's hairy, but you know, Marvel superpower shit going on Word. When did Donnie use his powers? Donnie used his strength to bury the axe into the school water pipe, and he used his strength to plunge the axe into the solid bronze mascot statue. He used fire to burn Jim Cunningham's house down and expose his kitty dungeon. He flooded the school and he constructed a time portal from water, and he used telekinesis to rip the jet engine off the plane to send it through the time portal. Anybody connected to the living receiver who dies within the tangent universe becomes the manipulated dead. These people are powerful enough to move through time and communicate with the living receiver through a fourth dimensional construct. They also have some knowledge on the impending disaster and try to help guide the chosen one. Frank is killed in the tangent universe and therefore becomes one of the manipulated dead. He travels back in time and helps Donnie with his quest to return the artifact. First thing he's got to do is save Donnie by waking him up before he gets squashed by the jet. He's like a reverse ghost who appears before he was killed. Now Gretchen is also the manipulated dead, but she doesn't appear to Donnie in the same way, as it might be too confusing for him. All of the people who are connected to the living receiver are the manipulated living and subconsciously will be helping the chosen one. They will behave in the perfect way necessary to push Donnie toward his eventual destiny. Nearly every single event in the film has a purpose designed to help Donnie save the universe. There is a driving force behind the manipulated's behavior, though we never find out what it is for sure. God's influence is one of the most popular theories here, as religion is brought up many times. The story uses lots of religious symbols and points to the idea that you follow God's channel to decide your own fate. This guiding force is moving all the manipulated characters around like pieces on a chessboard, making a sequence of events that will lead to Donnie's success. The philosophy of time travel states that all the manipulated are pushed to lure the living receiver into a trap, so they have no choice but to send the artifact out of the tangent and into the primary. This is the insurance trap, and effectively the role all the manipulated play. They're trying to save their ass, basically, because guess what? If Donnie fails, we all die. Frank tells Donnie to flood the school, which in turn leads to Donnie meeting and walking Gretchen home, and them becoming girlfriend and boyfriend, right? That was not a coincidence. That was a trap. That was a trap, baby. Now, Gretchen plays a crucial role in said trap. Remember, Donnie only meets and falls in love with her within the tangent. Bro's given someone to love and then wham! She dies. He's so tight over Frank running over his shawty, so he shoots him. And this creates the manipulated dead Frank, the person guiding him to do these things. He had to create manipulated dead Frank in order to save himself in the beginning. You following me? You following me? Right, so the manipulated have now successfully set the trap. Donnie was saved from death and is now in a desperate situation. His girlfriend is unalived and he's a killer on the run. Big boy knows what his purpose is and he knows his way out. Send that goddamn engine through a portal, erase the last 28 days from history and time, return to October 2nd, back to when Gretchen was still alive. Yep. What did Rod Stewart say? It was all for love, right? You know, I'm sorry, give me a second. People do crazy things for love, right? But I've never been in love. All I'm worried about is getting this shmoney. So, you know, Oh, let me point out the part where Seth has the knife to Donnie's throat, like right before Gretchen gets vroomed, and he asks him if he called the cops. Remember that Donnie said Deus ex machina. Well, that means God out of the machine, and this is a term used for a plot device in a story that solves a seemingly unsolvable problem or situation. But here, Donnie is referring to the fact that he can't change what's happening in the current timeline, which leads to Gretchen's death. But he now understands how to travel through time and change that outcome by sacrificing himself. At the end of the journey, a vortex appears over Donnie's house. It's the beginning of the tangent universe collapse. Donnie is officially aware of what needs to get done and drives up the mountain for a better vantage point. The plane with the same jet engine has been manipulated to fly overhead at this exact time. Donnie rips that motherfucker using telekinesis, constructs a time portal from water, and guides the engine through it. That's when we see parts of the last 28 days, blah blah, rewind, the tangent universe starts to unravel, and it has now collapsed safely. Now, the primary universe, which was on pause, starts back up again. Donnie's in his bed, laughing, hysterical, just all that. And why? Because life is but a dream.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay.
He's content. He no longer fears death. And more so, he feels like this journey has brought him closer to God. Even though the last 28 days didn't happen, the manipulated will be haunted in their dreams by their experiences within the tangent universe. There are small bits of evidence nodding to this. When Mad World plays at the end, all the characters simultaneously wake up in a strange realization, as if they all subconsciously felt the effects of Donnie's sacrifice. Frank touches his eye, the same one he was shot in. The next morning, when Gretchen waves to Rose, that kind of just, it's like very subtle. It just proves that some of these characters have just a little bit of knowledge of what happened within the lost world. Oh, and when Jim woke up, he was waking up crying because he was, so disgusted with himself, which unfortunately, Mr. Jim Cunningham was not exposed, which, whatever, the universe is more important than that. Karma will come for you, Jimmy. The forum also brings up how people assume that Donnie had to die for all of this to be fixed when, science. I don't do science. I'm not a science person. I'm more spiritual, but scientifically, Donnie's death is not relevant at all because the corruption is already fixed before he dies. And if he got up from that bed after laughing and giggling once again and dodged the jet engine again, nothing would have changed. The Philosophy of Time Travel book tells us of previous receivers who died after the artifact was returned, but we only hear about them because their death defies logic. Any receivers who escaped death would go completely unnoticed. It's almost certain Roberta Sparrow was a living receiver in a previous tangent universe, and that is how she came to write the Philosophy of Time Travel book. She survived her experience, proving that the receiver doesn't always have to die. Donnie Darko found its life and its cult status through its DVD and VHS release. And ever since then, a plethora of conspiracies and paradoxes have infiltrated the Darko community. And I will briefly go over the most popular ones. Schizophrenic psychosis. Arguably the most popular of them all, this is the belief that every event in the movie is just an effect of Donnie's mental illness. The visions of Frank, hallucinations caused by his schizophrenia, the jet engine, a freak accident, and the time loop stuff, not real. The hero's journey is just Donnie's way of finding meaning in his suffering before he dies. Just a vision. This is somewhat of a secondary part to his psychosis and being all in his head. This belief is that everything runs through Donnie's head in the last split second before the jet engine crushes him, and he imagines what would happen if he survived, only to find oblivion and dead girlfriends. This is how he consoles himself in his last few seconds, and for him, living would be almost as bad as dying. Donnie as Jesus Christ. I've already said religion is a big topic in this film, and Donnie does have a very Christ-esque destiny. He's the one to save the people and restore cosmic balance. His death is the ultimate sacrifice to save everyone and the universe, dying for the sins of everyone, saving Gretchen, as well as saving his mother and sister so they survive the plane crash. Bunny Frank is like John the Baptist, the guide to Donnie's destiny, and Jim Cunningham is like the devil, or at least something adjacent to a demon.
I think you're Antichrist.
His house burning down, hell, and his entire fear versus love shtick is just a form of manipulation to keep people complacent. This all plays with themes of destiny, sacrifice, and rebirth. Donnie's accepted departure at the end is quite martyr-like. The purgatory theory. This belief is that Donnie is actually already dead or dying the whole movie. The tangent universe is a form of purgatory where Donnie must resolve his earthly issues before moving on, and Frank is a guide spirit pushing him to accept his death. This gives the film a metaphysical vibe, very spiritual, and Don's journey feels like an emotional psychological reckoning before eternal peace. The butterfly effect. Donnie's small decisions in the tangent universe, burning down Cunningham's house, telling off teachers, telling Sharita she matters, falling in love with Gretchen. This all creates ripple effects that dramatically change the primary universe when it resets. And it's not just about saving the world, it's about reshaping it for the better, even if no one directly remembers it, but feels it subconsciously. Frank is Donnie's time guide, guardian angel. This theory is that Frank isn't necessarily evil or a ghost, he's a guardian angel who operates under weird cosmic rules. His creepy appearance and violent methods, making Donnie flood schools and burn houses, are all necessary evils to keep Donnie on track. Think of him as a chaotic good figure in a universe that doesn't care about mortality. Donnie survived without Frank's help. As I said, most assume Frank is the one who saved Donnie from the jet engine. But what if Donnie actually just got out of bed due to his chronic sleepwalking and dodged death that way? Perhaps Frank's interference created a loop instead of solving it. This theory says Donnie was already on the path to enlightenment, growing his powers, all without Frank. And Donnie chooses to die at the end, not because Frank tells him he has to, but because he wants control back. Frank's involvement has put him in a loop until his death breaks it. This makes Donnie a free-willed protagonist rather than a pawn of fate, pushing back against authority, even supernatural authority. This is such a 2 a.m. movie. I can't help but think about the people who discovered this movie in the late hours of the night randomly on cable television, DirecTV, Dish, whatever, Xfinity, whatever you were using, and became transfixed on its time-warped beauty. The charm about Donnie Darko's story is that it's not a one-trick pony. There are countless routes to go in terms of interpretation. So many aspects of being a teenager are brought to the surface, that depressing teenage isolation, the fear of death, mental health, finding purpose. And that's what makes this film timeless. The surreal fever dream tones draped over this dread of facing your fears and fulfilling your destiny will resonate with everyone. And free will. Free will. You know, I don't think this movie was meant to be solved. I don't. Richard Kelly himself has done many interviews where people have straight up asked him, what the fuck is this movie about? And the answer is that it's about many things. Yo, the film was, he intentionally wrote it this way for it to be a puzzle and for it to be different for everybody, every viewer. At the wrap party for the film, Seth Rogen and Jake Gyllenhaal both agreed that they had no idea what the movie was about, which it reminds me of, what was it? The David Lynch movie, Mulholland Drive. Naomi Watts, I believe that's the actress. She asked David, pulled him aside, and I don't know if she was trying to get him to overall, or if it was like the scene they were doing, maybe. I'll never forget. She had asked him, she was like, so what is this? You know, like, what does this mean? Or like, what's really going on here? And he wouldn't tell her. Oh, that would piss me off. That would piss me off. But like, also, I love that. I love that. I think that if your film only has one ending and that, you know, what you see is what you get, I feel like that takes away some of the charm. Don't get me wrong, you know, I don't think that every movie needs to be a brain workout. I don't need you, you know, taking your fingers, massaging my brain, because let's be honest, you know, films are escapism for some people. Some people just want to relax, see, you know, niggas blow shit up. And I get it, right? But my point is that the best films, the best kinds of films are the ones that push you to think, push you to question and to reflect on these characters and their decisions and turn it around, turn the mirror around and reflect on your own life and your morals and the decisions that you make. And, you know, and not to get corny, but we're all aware, right, that time is an illusion. Yes, I hope so. I hope you know that. Personally, I don't think it was necessary for Donnie to die, but more so his choice. Maybe he was ready to go. I mean, Roberta Sparrow was obviously a living receiver, and she lived through her universes to write the philosophy of time travel book. And yeah, you can argue if Donnie just kept dodging the jet engine, then the loop would have kept happening till he got it right. Look, bitch, I don't subscribe to that, okay? He could have found a scapegoat. Don't ask me what he could have did, because I don't know. I don't know. Woo, child, I ain't got the answers for that. But all I know is that he could have lived. Where there's a will, there's a way, bitch. Now what? Or you know what? Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe Donnie was meant to die and to save the universe. He could have been a completely different beast than Roberta. You know, God could have selected him for his own mission, and with his supposed mental illness, that really... Oh, yeah, now that I'm bringing that up, the mental illness thing, that is a whole nother can of worms in itself. Was this all in his head? Which... I will say I do not like that. I don't like that. Do not make me sit through a whole movie and you tell me that the bitch was asleep. Don't piss me off. Don't. That's lazy to me. I don't mind dream sequences, but yeah, don't. The first thing that comes into my mind is the top two movies I only ever fucking talk about. I'm sorry. It's just a perfect example here. Black Swan and American Psycho. I don't give a damn! Two movies that play with mental illness, right? And that have the whole movie, they are just doing shit and going crazy and it all just builds up to the climax. But the thing is, both of those films, more so American Psycho, they have an open ending and you can decide whether or not it was in their head or not, or how much of it was in their head. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. There's extreme ambiguity lying between mental illness and the supernatural forces at play. The role of therapy, hypnotherapy, and meds being control mechanisms that were barely working, and the entire revelation that Dr. Thurman was giving Donnie water pills. Like, oh, you're going to hell! Like, no, like, what if, oh, I'm saying what if, but like, it's, you know, it's more so a theory. Like, what if Donnie was actually mentally ill and you're not helping him? The symbolism of bunnies are thrown around the film, and that's just another touch that I appreciate. The song that plays as Donnie rides his bike home in the theatrical version is The Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen.
Under blue moon I saw you fade up against your will. Don't ask me what you know is true, but some of us don't know why.
Side tangent. You get it? During that scene when he rides his bike, Frank drives past him in the red Trans Am. That's something you're not gonna get. It takes you a few times. When Gretchen was waiting for the school bus, a Volkswagen Rabbit quickly passes in front of her. When Elizabeth is sleeping on the recliner, there's a stuffed rabbit next to her. When Donnie reaches for the keys, there's a Polaroid picture of him and his sister in Halloween costumes on the desk. And Donnie is dressed up as a what? A rabbit. When Donnie is talking to his sister after his mom leaves near the end, the jack-o'-lanterns that they were carving out on the table. Frank the rabbit. He often appears near a water source, sprinklers, water main, faucet. Remember, water and metal. That's how you time travel. Somebody give me some Fiji water in a fucking pipe. Billy Zane, I'm coming for you.
I cannot hold it, I cannot control it.
And you know what? I'm comfortable playing that song. The only reason I'm comfortable playing that song with him specifically is because that is a black man to me, okay? I said it in my Demon Night video, which you should watch if you haven't already. I do a little thirsting over there, but no, I said it over there, and I'm gonna say it again here. He went on Jennifer Hudson's talk show with a black suit and Nike Air Force Ones, high top. This is a nigga if I've ever seen one. Chicago sneakers down. I mean, look, I aspire. Even just the way that bro dresses like this is literally me in my 50s. Are you serious?
The beautiful nonsense of Kitty Farmer's fear versus love, and how in life the authorities try to make us put ourselves in a box of either this or that, when humans are much more complex. Introvert versus extrovert, good versus evil, gay versus straight, rich versus poor. There is so much going on in between. I think another undercurrent that Richard Kelly kind of slid up in there, it's kind of more so the backdrop, but it does play into the Kitty Farmer and the gym stuff. The clear commentary going on with the 80s and the tail end of the Reagan era. Ronald Reagan's America sold the glossy patriotic dream of family values and consumerism, playing along with Jim Cunningham and his entire book on attitude and fear. Everything's fine, darling, if you just go to church, say the Pledge of Allegiance, and keep your pretty little head down. Donnie is the wrench in the machine, seeing through the facade, which makes him dangerous. His rebellion isn't only personal, it's political. You can view Donnie's existential questions about why things or people have to die in conjunction with questions the Reagan era didn't want anyone asking. It's easier to tell kids to shut up, smile, and buy into the American dream than to confront the collapse beneath it. Maybe Donnie felt the ultimate sacrifice. Choosing death to reset the timeline felt like a rejection of that world altogether. Like, if this is the system, maybe it should f***ing burn. And death is the only way to break the cycle and spare others the rot. To me, Frank is the cosmic messenger, perhaps a manifestation of Donnie's guilt and fear of killing Frank in the Tangent universe. I don't subscribe to the belief that the Tangent universe began because of Frank waking Donnie or the jet engine falling. I think it started before, which is pretty popular. And like I said, I don't like the all in his head thing, the vision thing, because the montage at the end with Mad World when everybody's waking up, that is just proving, that was also in the book, you know, proving that everybody who was within the living receiver's life is going to remember aspects of that alternate universe. I don't know. There's so much more, but I don't want to make this too, I feel like this video is already long enough. Do you think that Donnie was a Christ-like figure, a paranoid schizophrenic, or just a kid who saw the world breaking and decided to break with it? Maybe he's a little bit of all of it. Donnie Darko doesn't care to hand you the answers. It dares you to sit in the discomfort of not knowing. And in a world so pressed with explaining everything, that's kind of beautiful. What do you think about Donnie Darko? What are some of your theories? And what are some aspects that you think nobody ever brings up? Comment down below. I'll be on the lookout. If you enjoyed this video, give your man a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot. And if you are not already, consider subscribing. I would love to have you. If I'm your kind of boy, you know, watch my other videos. Maybe turn on that bell so you know whenever I post a new video. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. In the meantime, my friends, take care of your mind, take care of your body, and take care of your spirit.